Dodson's Racing Insider News this week, presented by Gen X Motorsports. Can you thank those guys enough?
I'm gonna tell you,
If you need to tweak your car a little faster, talk to Gen X.
yeah,
Full service.
yeah. Put 2 of our stickers on and go to Gen X, and that car will fly.
Guaranteed to win. Got to thank Papa John's for bringing us some pizza tonight. Brung Jack's wife.
Yep, she got another pizza. So
Pizza this week. Got to thank our marketing partners here. Let's see here. I meant to say something about this. Maybe I'll wait a little bit. All right, we got to thank Greer and Associates with Mean Dean Automotive in Moyock. How do you say it, Jack?
Moyock.
Okay.
I didn't learn
now. So to check out Mean Dean's Automotive and Mr. Greer there. I think Safety Clean, Performance Plus Motor Oil. Really got to thank Langley Speedway for allowing us to do the show here. Really appreciate those guys
and making us a part of the group here. I mean, without Bill and everybody making us a part of it.
And it's almost like we're like the redheaded stepchild of Langley Speedway.
Well, I don't know if that's a good.
Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it's you. It has to be you.
Bondurich Brothers Distillery. Jack's he's gonna get us some stuff one day.
I need to get up there. I just haven't had a chance to get up.
Yeah, I don't know. And then we need to maybe have everybody over one night and everybody do a shot.
Who you talking about? Everybody. Who you talking about? Everybody.
Whoever will show up. Last time we didn't really do anything.
Okay, depends on who everybody is.
Mayhem Management. If you need somebody to help take care of your social media stuff, right behind her we got Tanya McAllister, MPM Marketing. Helps with a lot of stuff, press releases, marketing, social media, and can teach you about what to do, do's and don'ts do, graphic design, help you with driver suits, helmets, the whole kind of deal. She's got to deal with all those people. So she certainly helped me out, and I greatly appreciate Tanya for that. Black Acid Racing Apparel, if you need a shirt, some shirts for your team. I seen Greer just had some hats and stuff done.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really
We
cool.
still don't have one, but
No, I told him we needed something.
we did. Gen X Motorsports driver development and race rental. So if you don't have a car and you want to get into racing, you can rent one from them. They'll take care of it, or I think you can have your own car and then they'll maintain it for you, bring it to the racetrack. But between y'all's money and them, there's nothing to hold you back.
That's right.
Slinger Speed, Motorsports apparel and merchandise. So if you want some T-shirts and those things, hit Slinger up. VA 811. Call before you dig. If you're doing any digging around the house, call before you dig. Factory canopies, and if you need a car cover, the Fluid Logic stuff is great. I think I'd highly recommend the guys that are going to run the Hampton Heat this year to look into it. GAC, Great American Company. Really got to thank those guys. They've been on with supporting us for a few years now, and really got to thank Garamo Amaya. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you got it close.
It's close. That's all that matters. And Papa John's for dinner tonight. Got to thank those guys. Really appreciate the deal. What's up, Eddie Clark? Rodney Davis, what's up, buddy? Shane Laws, what's up, man?
David Blankenship.
What's up, Dave? How's the damn, I'm drawing a blank. The body shop business. Mako business. That's what I was trying to say. I think Dave is the Mako guy.
Danny Millard.
What's up, Danny? I know. So they're looking forward to hearing Eddie PARDUE, because Eddie was a crew chief with old Dave.
Well, that's where Dave became one of the greatest drivers at Langley Speedway.
No, not Danny. We're talking about Dave.
No, but it was Dave. I'm talking about Danny. I'm sorry. Danny was one of the greatest drivers at Langley Speedway. Yeah, we missed being.
Look, he's already got a big head in general, if you keep talking him up like that, his head, I mean, it'd be big as yours.
Go somewhere. Sparky West. How you doing, Sparky?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do some news real quick before we start into the show.
Rodney Davis has been getting hot whiskey for the last 2 years, just like the prizes. It's true, Rodney. That's true. I like that.
All right, down at Daytona this past weekend, or this past week, really, they had all the races down there. Started off with the Truck Series race. Zane Smith won the Truck Series. He's the defending champion. He won the Truck Series race, and he won it last year at Daytona. So he's back-to-back winner at Daytona. The ARCA race, Greg Van Alst come out of nowhere and got the win on that race. I mean, he was running up front most of the race, but he just kind of just out of no particular situation got there, and I think that's really cool that he got up front. In the Xfinity race, Austin Hill, he's a back-to-back winner at Daytona for the weekend. I mean, he won the last year's race, and he won this year's race. Looked very strong. And in the 500, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got the win, and that was a wild race. The whole race was pretty wild. It was different, completely different than what I'm used to. But to see Stenhouse come out on top, of course,
it wasn't a big surprise. I mean, he is a good plate racer.
But we found out Kyle Busch does not like his job.
But you know what? I'm gonna give a shout out to Kyle Busch stuff. I think they goes right. That caution for a single car spin, I was surprised over the caution being thrown so quick. They would have won 1-2. I'm looking forward to see how it'd be nice to see Richard Childress Racing being a contender week in and week out.
Well,
I mean, I think everybody that's an old Earnhardt fan like me has been lackluster with Childress Racing, and with Tyler last year kind of turned the curve. And I think Kyle going over there is going to be good for both of them. I think his personality kind of fits the Childress personality.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know if that's going to be good or bad, because that comes from the top down, and Richard is like that. I mean, for people that, maybe are new to the sport, know that Richard is just as much as a fighter as the rest of them. But I think him and I'm going to see a little bit of maturity. Like, he wants to help Austin get better, and I think he's going to make the whole team overall better.
Well, I mean, they were already. I mean, it looked good, even though the situation like it was. They looked good the whole weekend. That was. I mean, he actually got taken out of the race 2 times in the dual race. He got taken out from the lead by the second place car, and then he got taken out from behind again in this race. I mean, so that it's. In his, like you said, in his defense, that's a little hard to swallow when you get taken out.
For sure. Yeah,
like
when you're leading on tap 200 of the Daytona 500.
Well, it was really funny. He said, "We come down here and we just find out which lap we're going to rack on." That's pretty cool. Pretty good. Kirk Ipock, how you doing, Kirk? Are you going to be down at Goodyear when they do the race at Goodyear in a couple weeks? Let me know. I'm contemplating going down there for that. I don't know that I will, but I'm contemplating it. All right, now the World Series down at New Smyrna.
I agree, Spanky.
Day 5 of that, we already did the first 4 days last week. So day 5 this week, the Super Late Model, the winner was William Byron. Jake Finch finished second. Casey Roderick was third. In the Tour Type Modifieds, Hirschman got a win. Can you imagine that? Hirschman getting a win? Matt Hirschman getting that's unbelievable. He only won every time he went out on track down there. So Patrick Emmerling finished second. Eric Goodale was third. In the 602 Modifieds, Luke Baldwin, Tommy Baldwin's son, Luke, got the win. Trevor Cantalano was second. And Ethan DeRocher was third. We're going to have Trevor Catalano on here in just a few minutes. He'll be on with us in a little bit. Day 6, that's the day of the Blewett Memorial for the Tour Type Modifieds. Guess who won?
I don't know.
Matt Hirschman.
I can think of it.
Patrick Emmerling finished second. Ronnie Williams finished third. In the super late models, Casey Roderick got the win. William Sawalich finished second, and Jake Finch finished third. In the pro late models, Ryan Luza got the win. Carson Brown was second, and Connor Jones was third. Day 7 of the World Series, the Tour Type Modifieds raced again, and the winner was
Matt
Hirschman. And Patrick Emmerling. I know Patrick Emmerling got to be pissed off. He finished third and second all 3 races 3 times. And Teddy Hodgson Jr. was third. In the super late models, Casey Roderick got the win. William Sawalich finished second, and Connor Jones finished third. In the pro late models, the first ever female winner at the World Series, Katie Hettinger got the win in the pro late models. And we're going to have Katie on next week, and she's going to tell us all about it. Ryan Luza finished second, and Carson Brown finished third. In the 602 modified, Luke Baldwin got the win. Sharperstein got second, and Catalanano got third. Day 8, pro late models. Ryan Luza got the win. Connor Jones was second, and Brent Cruz finished third. And Connor Jones won the World Series, the Pro Late Model Championship for the Pro Late Models down there that weekend. In the Tour Type Modifieds, their race was rained out. And they gave them points based on their qualifying for the championship.
Oh, wow.
Of course, Matt Hirschman got the championship, and he also was the fastest qualifier. So, anyway.
Fastest car won.
Tyler Ripkema was second, and Ronnie Williams was third. Also, on day 9 of the World Series, the super late models ran. William Sawalich finished first. Bubba Pollard was second. Gabe Summers was third. And Casey Roderick got the championship in his car.
Is he still doing his own deal?
No, he's driving for Donnie Wilson Motorsports.
No.
No, it's not Donnie Wilson. Excuse me. That's not right. ALM. Gosh knows. I can't think of his name now. I'll think about it in a minute and I'll be able to tell you. Also, last week on Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember which day it was, the Cars Tour Touring 12 was announced. The 12 drivers are Brandon Pierce, Brendan Butterbean Queen, Mason Diaz, Connor Hall, Chad McCumbee, Jacob Hefner, Andrew Grady, Chase Burrow, Minnie Tyrell, and Gale. And we're going to have Cale on here in just a few minutes. And he was also part of the Touring 12. And it was also announced this week that Tyler Matthews has joined Crest Van Dyke's racing performance team. He's going to be driving the car with Crest Van Dyke this year. So that's a pretty big deal to have Crest Van Dyke and him teamed up down there. So anyway, that's the news for this week. A lot of big stuff going on. And I already see Gale is already here with us. So let's go ahead and get Cale on here and talk with him.
What's up, Cale? How you doing, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing great. I see you're hanging out in the shop out there a little bit. What's going on?
Oh yeah, always. That time of year, building some shops for some guys. The racing season's already here, but the local stuff's starting to heat up here in the next couple of weeks, and getting ready to go do some racing ourselves. So,
now, how exciting is it for you you got hooked up with Nelson Motorsports? Now that's a pretty good situation for you to be involved with. How excited are you for the season with them?
Really excited. I mean, things came together really quickly. I've been fortunate enough I'm just really excited. I mean, I feel like a teenager, to be honest. It's just I'm pumped. I'm ready to get back on the racing every week. It's been a long time since I've been able to do that, and to be a part of the Cars Tour this year and the Touring 12 and all the things that come with that, and being associated with Barry and Nelson Motorsports for this year is really neat and a dream come true. And I'm excited to get to the track and get going.
I mean, you know, they're a very potent team, and as the Cars Tour goes, I mean, you know, they've been pretty strong in late model racing altogether around here. So that's a big deal to have them in your court.
Yeah, I mean, in today's world, you know, it's not one guy or you know, one particular trick of the week or anything like that. It's really a team effort. It takes a package within the car. It takes, you know, the car to be, you know, mechanically sound, no issues. The competition level in late model stock car racing, you know, even super late model racing, pro late model racing, there's so many good guys that work on this stuff full time now with all the rental programs and, you know, a lot of the knowledge that's trickled down from the top levels of racing down to the short track world. It's always been that way. It just seems like the wave in the past 5 or 6 years, the quality of these cars, the chassis, the way that they're built. I mean, it's technology's really made a big step in the past 5 to 10 years. And it takes it's not one big thing. You know, for years we kind of raced and, you know, you would, you know, stumble on a set of shocks or a particular, you know, package that would just, you know, be lights out. In today's world, it's 10 little things, a little advantage, a little bit here, then you've got an advantage. But it's not just one piece or component that you bolt on the car that gives you a huge advantage.
Cale, talk a little bit about your career. I mean, I've heard your name you know, a while back, and tell us a little bit how your career has evolved down to where it is now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for me, my story's similar to a lot of the guys that you hear about. I'm a third generation racer. My dad basically was a regional star late model racing back home from Alabama, multi-time track champion at Mobile International and Five Flag Speedway. So growing up, you know, I was raised in a race shop, you know, and when it was time for me to move up into the race car ranks, you know, all the tools and pieces to the puzzle were there for me. My dad was not rich by any stretch of the imagination. He was just a racer, but had the experience and everything to put me in good situations and you know, good cars, and was able to win, you know, based off his expertise. And I really fell in love with racing in general, but I fell in love with the technical side of the cars. I learned how to build shocks at 15 years old, you know, and just kind of always been into that. Was fortunate enough to catch a couple good breaks by some good people that seen potential in me. And, you know, that's kind of how my career evolved.
Well, I mean, you've got a pretty good situation through the years. You've come along a long way. So having Nelson Motorsports and going over there, this is kind of revamping your career. Is it giving you new life into what you just can't wait to this part of your life to get out there and get to racing?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. You know, it's just so hard to do this stuff, especially, you know, for an example, the Cars Tour Series. It's a professional racing series. Right. It's not local racing. And for me, from the short track side of it, you know, I haven't had an opportunity like this, you know, back years ago, before I kind of moved up here. We were fortunate enough to drive for a car owner and consistently, but for the first time for me in a very, very long time on the short track level, this is a big opportunity for myself.
So along with the running the Cars Tour, will you be running the car in other places too? I mean, you know, just like other late model races?
We're planning on running, you know, we'll be running the Virginia Triple Crown too. So we'll be up at Langley twice. So that's the game plan. You know, we've went and tested a couple times already this off season. We're kind of like getting in race mode now. We're just a couple weeks away from the opener at Southern National. But yeah, the guys are working hard. You know, and we're gonna go to Southern National and get in there with those late model stock guys.
You know, the Nelson Motorsports, they seem to have the good equipment and everything, but he seems like he makes sure that the team and the drivers and everything have exactly what they need to be successful. So he seems to be a great car owner.
Yes, and that's what it takes. You know, it's like we discussed just earlier. It's not one person. You know, it takes a team effort to put together winning efforts, and in racing, and especially at a professional level. The competition, you know, on the Cars Tour. If you look at the field of cars and the field of drivers, you know, there's 15 to 18 cars that can win that race.
Right.
And that's as a competitive. If you go look at the Camping World or Craftsman Truck Series, that's as competitive as what that is. So when you roll through the gates, you better have, you know, all your boxes checked, and that's what it takes to win. You can't leave a box unchecked. You got to be sure that, you know, you're completing all your goals for the weekend and checking all your boxes to be successful.
Now, hey, Cale, how much input are you going to have on the chassis side of it? I mean, you're pretty good. I mean, obviously, you're pretty good on the chassis side of cars. Are you going to have a big influence on that stuff, or are you going to let them kind of do their side of it and you just kind of handle the driving side of it?
You know, I think I'll have, you know, obviously, you know, try to put as much input as I can. A lot of what we do now in today's world is data driven, and it's more and more data driven. So pretty much, your driver, the balance of the car is getting the car where you want it to drive. But a lot of what we do is data driven. So I mean, if it shows it's better. That's why you kind of hear on TV the last few years, you're talking about engineers and this and that. That's the data side of it. So, old school racers, I'm kind of like the mixture in between, right? I kind of grew up around throwing springs at it at the racetrack, doing whatever it takes, sway bars, this or that, and happy hour, to try to get speed out of it the last second, where now it's kind of like, you don't do that a whole lot because the setup is close to being optimized kind of when the car unloads. You do make small tweaks for balance, but there's not a lot of slinging at the car to try to create speed. That's why you hear a lot of times on TV now, or even short track guys, like we unload, we got speed. Like, nowadays, sometimes when you unload and you don't have speed, you're typically not going to just find 2 or 3 tenths at the racetrack. Like, if you unload and it's got speed, well, that's a good start to the weekend. Because if you unload and you don't have that speed, it's hard to go get in today's world.
Yeah. So what is your day job now, Cale?
So I still build a lot of short track shocks, between dirt and asphalt. And then I drive a RFK simulator once a week on Thursdays. That's kind of like my day job. And then being a race car driver again this year. Last year I was doing some spotting for RFK, like at the road race tracks and stuff like that. But this year we're going to be able to go back and do some racing. Fortunately enough, we've been able to put some amazing partnerships together this year. I've got Brandon Jones Racing that just started driving for JRM. We go back. We're big buddies. Been fortunate enough for him to be able to step up and help me some. We got Solid Rock Carriers behind us at Nelson. We've got Castrol, Napa, and then Autos by Nelson's. It's just really, really excited I'll be 38 before the opener. I'll be 38 March 5th. The opener's March 11th. They were talking about the other day, they were picking on me a little bit because of my age, could potentially be the oldest rookie of the year in the Cars Tour. But we're there to win. I'm all in to win races. I know that's why Barry has picked me to kind of come in and help. Is he feels like I'm a guy that can come in there and get it done, and I feel like I am too. I feel like we're going to get in there and we're going to build some fast cars, and we're going to be in the hunt. I do feel like I'm going to have a little bit of a learning curve. I don't have a lot of late model stock experience. And I haven't been racing a whole lot the last few years. So I feel like it'll take me a couple weeks to really get in a good rhythm. But after that, I think we'll start coming around and being a threat each week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good fit, and that's kind of why I asked you, were you going to have a lot of input? Because I think everybody in the late model world knows you kind of have your finger on the pulse of racing or in the late model stuff and that kind of stuff. And obviously, with the shocks, your name has a big name, so I think it's a good fit for both.
Yeah.
I think equally they bring a lot, and you bring a lot also. And I think it will be fun to be the oldest rookie.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can beat a champion. But that in the end, that tour is obviously you guys from Langley. I mean, Langley, we came up there years ago and ran. My dad had an IMCA modified, so we came up there and we ran a few of the modified. What was the special race, y'all? It was it was in October. We come up there and did that race a couple of years, but y'all's late model stuff has always been as competitive with CE and Mark Works, and for years,
Right.
Langley is really, really competitive for late model stock racing. So I'm really excited. I've kind of dreamed about having an opportunity like this, and if the right situation came along, that I would highly entertain it. And the Lord has blessed us with an opportunity, and we got to go out there and do our job and win races.
He's going to have to go after the rookie of the year. He's going to have to go through Butterbean, though.
Oh, yeah, Butterbean.
One of
Butterbean's
our
gonna be
Langley
tough.
Speedway guys.
Yeah, a lot of talent. Brandon's got a lot of talent. I especially being hooked up with Lee, I suspect those guys will be as big a threat as anybody each and every week. Yeah. Brandon's got a lot of talent.
Well, look, his head's big enough. We don't need to swell it no more.
Mikhail, it's got to be interesting for you. This is going to be a big year on the Cars Tour. You got Dale Jr. and all those guys involved in it now, and the Jack and all the guys with Cars Tour and everything, they do a heck of a job. And now you're going to have all that. It's going to be a big series, and it's going to be a lot of fun for the drivers.
And it's going to be on flow this year too, so that's going to
we get to see all the races this year. That's really big for you and everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, so like we kind of knew. First of all, Jack and what he's done and what he's built. He's grinded out being a race director and starting a series. Even when he was trying to make the old Pro Cups cars work, I mean, he did that a couple years, really just grinding, trying to make it work. So to see him be able to bear some fruit from his hard work and catch the attention of Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick to come by the series in today's world in asphalt racing is amazing.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, I mean, on the asphalt side, obviously the streaming stuff has been big on dirt. We all know that. But with Dale Jr. really getting involved with the grassroots stuff, and I think Kevin, once he retires, getting involved more with the grassroots stuff, it showed some spikes. North Wilkesboro was big. I kind of felt like Wilkesboro would be big with Dale Jr. running in the race, but Wilkesboro was a big deal to begin with. But when Dale Jr. did what he did, I don't think nobody expected that. I don't even think Dale Jr. expected that.
No, I don't think so either. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what lit the fire in carrying this deal further because, you know, and I feel like I'm speaking out of turn, and this is just kind of what I think, but I feel like right now late model stock racing's always been a regional type racing vehicle. You know, Virginia area, South Carolina, North Carolina, pretty much that's about it. I feel like, you know, I think Dale and Kevin and these guys, just take Florence for an example, what Dale was able to do by packing that place out because he ran there. There's other areas within the United States that local short tracks that the Cars Tour can go to that with a little bit of recognition and Kevin or Dale or, you know, running these races that can pack these places like they haven't been packed in years. And that's what we need on the asphalt side. It really is. A lot, I feel like what's kind of happened with asphalt racing, you know, people talk about the heyday in the 90s at most racetracks for asphalt short track racing. Well, what we had back then is and some racetracks have been able to survive off that, but most racetracks have kind of lost that identity. And some of that is because, my opinion, is you have young guys come in, they're only in late model racing for 2 or 3 years before they move to the next level, whether that be K&N, ARCA, trucks. They're making that climb really, really fast. So the fans don't have time to identify with that late model racing. Dirt racing, dirt late model drivers, they stick around a while. They do it for a living. We've kind of lost that on asphalt. But what Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick bring to the grassroots side in this is that again, because they are recognizable names and they can help build it up to have the tour guide names that are going to be around a while. Not every short track guy, for an example. I mean, Bubba Pollard, he's a name within the short track world that's known nationwide. There's not a lot of those guys in asphalt race. Josh Berry was one of them. Yeah. But besides that, there's not a whole lot. We've got to get that back, and then the fan following will come to it again.
Yeah, I completely agree with your analogy. And then you got to throw in Justin Marks in there with the Cars Tour. I mean, what he's done with the Cup Series, he just has a different model, and it's working, but he just brings a different idea about promoting and getting things involved. And I don't think you could pick a better 3 people or 4 people for the Cars Tour. Really cream of the crop of all 3 different ideas.
Yeah. And I think you're exactly right there. So even the wave of how we promote and do things and how the new generation fan watches things is different. It's just different. Right. And bringing like Justin Marks in and obviously Dale, and I mean Dale's media team, and you know they have, you know, data sets and everything from the data that see from viewership and age groups and time watching and how to promote things. And, you know, it really will be the series of the future for asphalt late model racing. I mean, it will be, just for the fact of the leverage that it's going to have. I think that it's probably going to grow in the next few years beyond, probably above what any of us really expect, honestly.
I think so too. I think it's going to be really big. Well, Cale, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight, man. I know you got a lot going on, and hopefully we'll get to check you out when you come down here to Langley, and we'll talk to you then and see how things are going.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. We'll see you guys up there.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Good luck, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and Cale is a top nation, racer. It's going to be good for the series too, because he does bring a name of recognition.
All right, let's see. We got to call Eddie PARDUE. We got to call him on the phone.
Yeah, he's still working, so we got to call Eddie. I don't know if you want to set him over here by.
However you want to set it up, if he answers.
Are you?
Maybe that's the wrong way to do that.
Are you just calling him on? You didn't call him on his phone?
No, I hit the wrong thing. Hey, how you doing?
guys?
We're doing pretty good, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing here, but anyway.
You know how old folks are, Eddie.
How you doing?
Good, man.
Now, look, I want to find out why you holding out on us. We didn't know you was going over at the KAULIG and be a part of that over there.
I mean, I'm not holding out, but yeah, I'm over here at KAULIG racing this year.
Well, that's a pretty big deal to be over there with them. I mean, that's a good organization over there.
It's a great place to be. You know, it was an offer I couldn't pass up, and over here started back in November. And they were looking for an engineering manager for both their Cup and Xfinity series, so that's what I'm doing over here.
Well, one thing about Matt and Matt KAULIG, he's not scared to put the money in to get it going.
No, it sure doesn't seem that way. Everything's going pretty good right now.
I mean, you know, we're fortunate enough to kind of be in behind the scenes and know those things, but that's been a thing that I think everybody knows that's in the garage, that Matt puts his money where his mouth is. And then you got Chris Rice, which you wouldn't, in some ways you love Chris because Chris has that addictive personality, but you think in some ways you look at him, you think he runs a race team.
No, Chris does a great job here. I mean, he's pretty busy all the time, but he's got a great foundation here and a good program, and it's one team mentality here with the Cup and Xfinity, so it makes it that's kind of neat, kind of special. You know, you all do this together with both sides. If one team wins, we all win, so it's that part's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk Daytona a little bit because
he don't want to talk about Daytona, Jack.
Well, we're going to talk about it anyway.
I love to talk about Daytona.
I mean, you know, Daytona, and you went down there with the 13 car and everything. What all took place there? I mean, I mean, it looked like he had pretty good speed at one point, but what all took place?
Well, I mean, it just kind of started rough the whole weekend. You know, we didn't no practice. Went down there to qualify.
Yeah.
And had a little issue there with the whole electrical connection.
That's what it was.
Didn't get up to speed, didn't get a good lap, and that put us behind. And the race was going to be okay, the duels. So we're stuck to the Chevrolet strategy, and it probably didn't work for us. But we got a speeding penalty, and that drugged the group back. And there was one car that fell out with a loose wheel, so that hurt the Chevrolet plan together. And once he lost had the speeding penalty on pit road, it was kind of just no cautions. It was done from there.
But Eddie, one of the things, the Chevrolet sit down and talk to you and the drivers and the crew chiefs and the drivers and put the plan in place, or do you all have any input in that?
We definitely have input. You know, everybody has input, but that was a Chevrolet decision. You know, and that was we didn't have to do that plan. But it's what we needed to do. You know, we race as a team, and anybody can do what they want, right? I mean, nobody's stuck to that plan in racing. But the numbers game, the way it is, it's in everybody's best benefit to stick with your manufacturer.
Mm.
Well, now it's going to be interesting. How many more races are you going to be able to do? Now with him.
I think he's going to do the same ones he's got scheduled. I think he's got Richmond. I think the All-Star Open, Talladega in the fall, and Phoenix in the fall. I believe that's his schedule right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty good deal for him. I think maybe it'll be Richmond will be a good track for him.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure that I'll be doing all of them, but for sure with everything to start the year off with is we had a lot going on, and West Coast swing is tough. Actually, I'm still at the shop right now. We're Hawkeyeing some of our final cars for the West Coast, and so it's a big push. But yeah, those are his races, and I'll be involved with them for sure. But my main job, what I'm here, my day to day, is with no practice or limited practice, is we use the DIL a lot, so we go there with the Cup car and the Xfinity car and the Chevrolet GM Tech Center there in Concord, so we really utilize that a lot. So I manage that and go with that. So it's kind of neat stuff.
So are you going to be at the racetrack a lot, or are you still going to be at the shop a lot?
No, I'll be at the shop, but on race days I'll be working for the War Room and helping out. But during the week, like say, I go to the GM Tech Center at least twice a week and work on the DIL. So it's a lot. That alone is keeping me busy.
So for people out there that don't know what the war room on Sunday is, how many guys you got there, and what do you guys actually do?
Well, a lot of it's just it's basically a support engineer position. Truthfully, you're helping the guys on the box look at pictures, look at fuel calculations, what other teams are doing. Just a huge support role on the backside, just to keep them all informed. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest part of it.
You got a much easier ride home after the race, huh?
Much easier ride. Much easier ride. Yeah.
I want to say one more thing that I'm sure Dave Millard is here listening. I know he was looking forward to hearing you. You want to give a shout out to Dave?
He is. Big Dave. He's my man. We go way back to the Chip Hudson days.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, I got another question for you that, and this is probably not one you want to hear too much about, but I had a conversation today with Tristan. And
I love Tristan.
Not many people say that.
How bittersweet was it that Tristan and them win the Daytona 500?
I know, right?
Oh, I'm so happy for them. They really needed that. That's awesome. No, I'm tickled for Ricky. I know Ricky from way back, and I'm very happy for them. That's awesome.
Yeah, but we're gonna have Tristan on, and hopefully next week we're gonna have him on the show and talk to him. But I mean, that's really cool to see. Him.
Is he gonna be able to get his head in the TV in the screen?
I don't know.
I know he's got a big head anyway.
I know when the plane landed in Charlotte yesterday, I think it was. They came back, and it landed. He was one of the first ones off the plane, right? And his head was kind of big then.
He's already got a big head anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy for him. He's worked hard for it, and he deserves it.
No, I was just going to say, Eddie, maybe because, we got a lot of new people at Langley Speedway. Maybe give us a little background. We know who you are and where you came from. Maybe some of the other people that are listening don't know who Eddie Pardue is. Maybe you can give us a little background.
Because it's been such a long time. I moved to Charlotte in '93. If y'all think about that, that's when I moved to Charlotte to work for Aiken Sutton for Elton Sawyer.
Mm.
But when I was in Langley, I worked for Chip Hudson and his late model stock car. I worked for the family, the Hudson family there, and took care of their late models and had a great run when we were there. We won a lot of races with Chip and had a great time. But it got to where I just needed to make a living, so I had to move to Charlotte. So I would have loved to stay in the area and continue to work on the 16 late model car, but just had to make a living.
Yeah, right. I know. I used to pick on Chip back then. He was the only one I knew that could run a 200-lap race and take his helmet off and his hair would still be perfect.
Because he's the man.
I haven't seen him in a while. It's
I haven't either, but we had a lot of good runs, and didn't know how good I had it back then, but it was pretty awesome.
And that's where you worked and knew Dave Millard, right?
Yeah, that's where Dave helped out, and they were all friends and had a great group. And it was, I had Freddie Doyle and Tony Chivers and Dave Millard and Chip Hudson. And we just raced like had fun. It was every week it was fun and ran good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Davey was probably, he probably was a good driver when he was driving his go-karts or his champ karts around here and everything. But there was no better driver than Danny Millard. You got anything you want to say about Danny? I mean, anything good to say?
Oh, man, he was a train wreck, man.
Did you race with him or something?
I know him. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, he was one of he put on a move out here at this racetrack. It's just like they moved out of the way and let him win the race. He was so good at it.
That's awesome. That's good stuff.
He's always going to be my hero. I don't care what anybody says.
That's awesome.
Hey, Eddie, so I know we're kind of jumping around to different subjects here. What's been the challenges of this new car from the engineering standpoint I know you can't come up with something different that everybody else doesn't have, but where's the areas you work and what kind of challenges you've run into?
Well, I mean, the car is so different from what we've had in the past, so it's completely different setup wise. Just the procedures are different. The way we work on them, set them up. So it's kind of it's a new game. But the challenges are the same challenges that you fight with, the other car. That part doesn't change, but you just go about it a different way. You have to look down at different avenues, and you've all seen them on the track. They don't run them nose down, sealed off anymore. So that mentality had to change. And that changed quick. Everybody catches on. In the garage. So it's just a different thought process to what the car needs.
Well, I mean, it's
now do y'all do like most other teams? You send a fake photographer out there and you look at everybody else's car?
You don't have to anymore because they're all the same and they're all up off the ground. The pictures don't help you as much as they used to anymore. So no, we don't have that. So it's like everybody's got the same bodies. They're all scanned. They're all pretty much the same. It's just what you do underneath with the springs, the shocks, and all the pivots and geometry.
Now, is that harder on the engineering side because you can't, you're sort of stuck in this box and it's more difficult?
Well, it just gives you different areas to work on and focus on, and you look for smaller gains for sure.
Yeah.
Versus the big gains are not quite there because everybody's equipment's the same, so you look for small gains for sure. And it doesn't take much for them to be off. I will tell you that the window seems to be pretty small because you can be off just a little bit and make a few little changes and you've got a different race car for sure.
I mean, I think the car has been good for the overall sport. I know it's always great to be able to, the big teams to come up with an advantage and work that advantage until they come up with the next advantage. But I think overall, I mean, like this year or this past year, we had so many different winners, and I think it's, make teams like KAULIG be able to come in or the 47 to win. These other teams it makes it easier for them to come in and be competitive.
No, it does. I like the car. The car is, it's just so different from what it was been run for the last 30 years. But the car is actually, it's a pretty nice ride. So
yeah, I hear it's not as cheap as it's not cheaper.
Well, no, it's not cheaper. I wouldn't call it cheaper, but is anything cheaper these days, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's got to be good that you can go out there and feel like, hey, any day I can win the race out of it just like anybody else could, and I think that's a pretty big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very exciting. We can go to a lot of places and be competitive, and there's a lot of races we can go out there and have a really good shot at winning. So it's kind of special.
Yeah, well, I can even imagine. I mean, you've worked for the lower, smaller teams like the JTG. And I'm sure you came to the racetrack knowing that it was going to be difficult to outbeat those, mega teams with the technology and stuff that they had and resources to come with an advantage, and where now you're more on a level playing field.
Yeah, and it is. And, the one part with, with teammates go a long way. Having, more teammates and learn quicker, and that's how you get a lot better with these days, is like your resources. Your resources are your teammates, especially when there's no testing, no practice. So you have to use the simulator sessions and your teammates, and you try different things. So that's where the gain comes from a lot of times, just learning quicker.
So now does the simulation stuff, how does that cross over to the car?
Well, the simulator that we use, the DIL, is as close to real life as you can imagine. It's hard to explain, but it's as close to real life as you can get.
So what do
Yeah.
you put in like different springs and shocks and packages and
So basically, the simulation is basically the car built in a computer,
Mhm.
and everything is modeled from the grip to the tires to the compliances to the aero. So everything is modeled in your computer program, and then we plug that setup into the DIL, and he gets to drive it on the tracks.
In other words, Eddie's a whole lot smarter than we are.
Well, we already knew that. Hey, he made a living at racing. It ain't done nothing but cost me money. So let me on the simulation side. So then, well, let me go back to the team side. Let me 2 questions here. I'm jumping. Do the stuff you go do at GM with their simulator, is that shared with the other GM teams?
Well, we have an alliance, RCR alliance, so we do share with those, but that's the only really group that we share with GM wise. But we do, if anybody has questions, for sure we're open to other GM teams, but our alliance is with the RCR.
Okay.
That's a good thing to do. You have an alliance with RCR, be able to pull a lot of their technology. And
Well,
stuff
y'all are right there in Welcome, ain't you? On the complex.
We're actually right next to them. I can actually see the building.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
And now when y'all go to the racetrack, because y'all have 2 teams or several teams, Xfinity and Cup, do you put different setups in different cars and then see which one's better and then migrate to that one?
We haven't, I haven't been here long enough, but just looking back their history, they really focus on trying to keep them the same and learn that way. There's been a few times where they've branched off and done, to learn things, but they do have that. Like, go back to that team mentality here. Is we do everything as a group. Like we have one group setting up both cars. We have Cup and Xfinity. The same group that sets up Daniel Hamrick's car this weekend set up, Austin Dillon's car. They're the same type of cars. They may have some minor tweaks different, but they are set up the same. They have the same components. The same people put them together. The same people set them up. So that's the good thing. When they run good, they all run good.
Well, Eddie, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight, man. It's good to talk to you, and have fun the rest of the year. And I mean, since you don't have to go to the racetrack very often,
Yeah, I guess we ain't gonna run into you unless it's at Charlotte.
I guess we'll just have to come to KAULIG.
Late models one weekend though. I gotta come back on so we can talk about late models.
There you go.
Okay, well we'll do that. Let's do that real soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man. We'll do that. And it was good talking to you, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Let's do it.
All right,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Thanks, Eddie.
See
All right, well, let's get Jamie on here. I think Jamie has his. What's up, Jamie? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I got this new gig over there at Rev Racing. I know that's a big deal for you to be over there with them guys.
It's a real opportunity. I mean, it's a really good program. It's a big diversity program, and I get a lot of gratification out of helping young race car drivers become race car drivers.
And you get to experience different types of racing with those guys too. I mean, some are racing late models, some are racing Xfinity or whatever. You got a lot of different stuff going on.
We do. Like, we have Bandoleros, we have legend cars, we have late models, we have ARCA East cars, we have ARCA Premier Series, and we have a Craftsman truck.
Yep. When you started out way back in the day here at Langley Speedway,
He's not. Come on now, Jamie's not that old now. Yeah,
Well, I ain't scared to tell you I'm 62.
well, I ain't scared to tell you I'm 62 too.
For some of the guys out there, I know most everybody on the screen knows who Jamie Jones is. We got Danny Millard, Dave Millard's watching, Anthony Warren. Most of those guys know who Jamie Jones is. For the people out there, the new people at Langley Speedway for the last several years, tell them who Jamie Jones is and where you came from.
Well, of course, I started my career in Langley. I started with Elton Sawyer. It was great. We had a great relationship. We still have it today. We talk at least at the racetrack every week. It's it's based. I worked with Ashton Lewis and them, a bunch of good people there. I mean, I had a great time. We won a lot of races. We won championships. I'm sorry I don't get back home and visit them people as much, but unfortunately, I have to make a living at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's got to be fun to be down there and be in this new situation with these younger drivers and everything, and developing them. I mean, for you, that's probably something you would really, you really excel at.
Well, I do. I mean, some people have knacks of being great crew chiefs, and I hope I'm a pretty good one. But the big gratification is I just like to help young race car drivers, and it's tough to do that. It takes a knack. Everybody can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you still like going to the racetrack every weekend?
I do. I mean, I probably go, I don't know, 25, 30 times a year. We run 20. I'll probably go about 28 this year. I still enjoy that. I miss my time home with my family. My daughter's in racing. She works for RCR Racing, and it's a family affair, really.
Mm-hmm. And once it's in your blood, you can't get rid of it. I mean, it's going to be there.
It is, and I've been very fortunate and blessed that I've been able to do it for over 40 years, and I met a lot of nice people and seen a lot of great country, and it's been a pretty good ride.
What was it like when they come and ask you to come to Rev Racing with the all the stuff they've got going on? What was it like for you to be able to say, okay, I'm going to do this, but it's going to be a little different than what normally you would do, I guess?
Well, it is different. I mean, the good thing is my passion is to help young race car drivers, and that was a program that I could do that. And we got great sponsors. Chevrolet sponsors us, NASCAR sponsors us. It's a really good program, diversity program that works out. I enjoy it. That's the reason I do it. I mean, I still love crew chief. I still crew chief now. LeVar Scott drove my car at Daytona last week. We finished 4th in the ARCA race. I have Andreas Perez is going to drive it at Phoenix. He's going to drive the rest of my ARCA races for me. And I still get the chance to crew chief, but I also get the chance to develop kids, young race car drivers. And that's the fun part about it.
What's it like when you go to a racetrack and you go 1 week with one guy, and then the next time you go with somebody else, and you gotta learn their differences between the two of them. What's it like for you to have to deal with that as far as what you have to do different?
Well, you try just to sit there and do your homework, talk to them during the week, and figure out what makes them tick. Because most time, race car drivers like the same thing. They like for them to turn good. They like for them to hook up. And if you get them to do that, most time the rest of it takes care of itself.
So when they do the combine, are you going to have any involvement in all that too, as far as the combine is concerned when that comes up?
I probably will. I mean, it's still 6, 8, 10 months down the road.
Right.
I have to. This is my first year with them, so at the end of the day, we got to get through it and see where we're at, and there'll be another group of kids that come through, and we'll keep some of the kids we have now. I mean, some of the kids have been fortunate enough to keep going through it for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and you're always looking for new ones. It has great ones come through there. I mean, people like Kyle Larson's come through there, Bubba Wallace come through there, Nick Sanchez has come through there. A bunch of good ones have came through there.
Well, it's a great program, because I remember when they did the combine here at Langley. There was a lot of kids that were, had gone through the program that are racing now big time, and it shows that they have some backing with those guys, and they learn a lot from the Rev Racing people.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough thing to sit there and try to learn, like you said, different race car drivers. Everybody don't take the same thing that makes them go. I mean, it's easy to say we can put the same 4 springs in it and the sway bars, and it goes there, and it goes the same for all the drivers. It does not work that way. And you have to learn them. You have to teach them what the right way to do it is. And you hope that they can learn and move on and have a career doing it.
Yeah, and not only is it not just drivers, you have pit crew members and guys that work on the car that also are in that same diversity program that kind of get moved up the ladder also.
Absolutely. We try to do it from all levels, just not drivers. We try to do it from crew chiefs that wants to learn how to be crew chiefs. We try to do it as car chiefs, mechanics, fabricators. You know, it's basically a starting program to where you can come in, you can learn how to do it the right way and move on. We don't like to have people that, we have a bunch of people that's been there for some years, but you try not to. You try to get them, teach them, let them move on and keep going up the ladder.
I can imagine that you get so many different levels of drivers or crew members, and I'm just going to call out our good buddy Rajay Carew that just came through the program and has got a truck ride now. We met Rajay a few years ago before he was just doing some sim racing. And before they had the combine, his dad called me and just wanted to get a few laps in a Legends car before they do the combine. So he was like as green as they get. I'm curious on your aspect, would you rather have somebody that is green like that will probably listen to you opposed to, you know, somebody that already has some, you know, I kind of put it to where, like, for me, I have a small automotive repair shop. Sometimes you like to have that green guy so you can mold them to like you want them compared to somebody that already has some bad habits or has some habits and you need to change them.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have both of them because at the end, they're not always, everybody's not going to have a lot of racing background, and some of them are. And the biggest thing is you just have to try to understand what makes them go. And it's very hard to do that sometimes because everybody don't learn at the same speed. Some drivers learn in a year, some drivers learn in 6 months, and I hate to say it, some drivers don't learn at all. You just have to sit there and just keep working through it.
So how much time do you get to spend with them as far as testing and stuff like that? Do you get to spend a lot of testing time?
No, we don't do a lot of testing. I mean, I spend more time with them in the shop and just try to teach them race cars, you know, because most of them come through our program to where they don't understand everything about a race car. You know, to make a good race car driver, in my eyes, they need to learn every piece of the race car they can. They need to understand what the tires do. They need to understand what sway bars do. They need to understand what geometry is. They need to understand, you know, the interior of their car. What do they need in their driver compartment that makes their job easy? And the more you can teach them, the more you can educate them, the better off it's going to be. I mean, yes, as you said a few minutes ago, it's really hard sitting there just trying to figure them all out. But if you just talk to them and make sure that they know that you have their back and you're in their corner, most of the time you can get something out of them.
So as part of your program there at Rev Racing, do these guys, you know, these drivers that are part of this program, they have to come in and spend quite a bit of time in the shop with you and the other people in there working on the cars too, right? That's part of their program.
Yes, all our drivers are in the shop every day. They have a schedule where they work out. They have a schedule where they run simulators. They have a schedule where they spend X amount of time in the shop. Some of our drivers, they have to go to college. So there's a break in the day a little bit that way. So they go to college. And you just have to sit there and just make a plan for them and teach them how to go through the plan.
So do you sit down and kind of schedule that as far as what you're going to do with each one of them that way?
I don't do a lot of that. I'm more into the car side. We have people like Mark Green takes care of some of our drivers. I take care of some of the drivers that drive, particularly for me, and like LeVar Scott and Andreas and stuff like that. I take care of them. I have some of the late model kids come through to where we have conversations with them. Of course, they look at me with my gray hair and they look at me like I'm a dad. And so it's easy for me to have a conversation with them. I try not to, and it's really hard. You try not to talk over top of them as far as their level. You got to bring yourself down, which is probably not real hard for me to do that sometimes. But you bring them down to the level so you can talk to them like they can understand you.
Well, that's a good deal for them to be able to learn that way. Well, Jamie, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. I know you've got a lot going on. You're home now, probably wanting to have some time at home. But we appreciate you being with us, and hopefully we'll see you around sometime down this way.
I'm gonna try to get up there. I need to get up and see my mom anyway and see everybody. I mean, there's a bunch of people that's worked for me in my career that helped me get to where I'm at. So I appreciate everybody at Langley.
Thank you, James.
All right, Jamie, we'll talk to you again real soon, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank
See you,
you.
buddy. I mean, Jamie is he's another, great person that's come through Langley Speedway, hands down. And I know a lot of the generation that's here now, besides the older generation, doesn't know Jamie Jones. He was here and left before I got here, and then it came back, And actually, I did beat Jamie one time. We had a pit crew competition. It was between us and them, and we won.
I noticed you didn't bring that up while he was on here.
I forgot about it until just now. Actually, I think they had a loose. I can't remember. I think they had a loose lug nut, or we had one loose lug nut, and they had two, and we ended up winning.
I know she didn't bring that up while so that would.
We'll bring it up next time.
Okay, we'll bring it up. All right, let's get Trevor Catalano on here real quick and talk with him. The big winner down there. Won a couple races down at New Smyrna. How did you enjoy New Smyrna down there while you were down there?
Yeah, New Smyrna. It was different than where we run down here. It's a lot bigger than the quarter mile tracks I'm used to running on. So it was a learning curve.
Where are you from?
We are from upstate New York near Rochester.
Okay.
Yep. So like our home track is like Spencer Speedway.
So you probably just got home, yesterday or day before yesterday?
We got home today around noon.
Oh, okay. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Now, we've had your mom on here before. We've had one of your brothers on here before. What's it like being in a racing family like you guys are? I mean,
that's all you guys do.
I mean, it's everybody is racing. I mean, that's really cool to see. What's it like?
It is very busy. There is not many weeks we have off during the summer. We go pretty much from probably middle of May right up till, beginning of winter. And then from winter, we just start working to get ready because we run the indoor stuff with the TQ midgets. So it's very busy, and sometimes it does not make for good dinners.
Well, yeah, that was my next question I was getting ready to ask you, because we had your mom on here and we had your brother on here, and at one point I forget which dump somebody got dumped, and
mom got dumped.
They said the meals were not very friendly for a little while after that.
Yeah, Mom, Tommy was running second, which is my oldest brother, and he got into Mom on the last lap and turns 2, and he thought it was okay because she still ended up third, but she did not think it was very well.
Now, would you rough your mom up?
I don't know. I don't think I could wreck her, but I'd give her everything I had.
So, I mean, what's it like though? I mean, have you raced against your brothers much?
I raced against my one older brother, Tyler, and we've got into it a couple times. Actually, one time at Evans Mills, I let him in the first 3 restarts. There was a restart in the green, white checkered. And I rated up to my brother, which was spotted for me, and told him to go tell my other brother, which was spotted for Tyler, that we're racing at this point. It's a green, white checkered, and we got to turn 1. He thought he was going to be clear and turned to the bottom. And I was going through the infield. So
how many brothers and sisters is it?
There is 5 boys in my family.
And how many of y'all are racing?
4 of us run on big tracks, and then my little brother runs a quarter midget.
And Mama races too.
Yep.
Your dad doesn't race anymore?
We call him semi-retired. He
Okay.
says he threatens to get back in every once in a while.
I would have to get in there.
I can imagine these dinners are pretty interesting at times.
Oh, they are.
Well, how excited was your mom and everybody when you got those wins down in New Smyrna? I mean, are those your first 602 wins, or have you won other races?
So I actually run an SK type car around here. I got 2 wins in them last year. But when we went to New Smyrna, we were really just looking to get some experience on a bigger track, not so small. And we kind of planned on just keeping the car in one piece and coming out with a couple top 10s, some top 15s, and walking away. So when the first night when we time trialed 4th, I think, and we were running second for most of the race. You know, I was actually okay with second. I was content with finishing second. And then all of a sudden it was like, here's a restart, you know, here's your chance. So it was pretty cool. You know, I don't think none of us expected to really have a chance to win it on the first night, especially, but it was,
So do you get to rub it you get to rub it in your brother's face that you won races down there and everything? I mean, do you get?
I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
I watched the race the other night, and then I think it was the start of the tour type mods. Your mom got wrecked like on lap 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I thought, I bet he's going to rub that in, but you know, then I got thinking, no, you probably didn't rub it in too much.
No, he wanted to eat.
No, we rub it in a little bit, but you know, it's when one person has a bad night, it's kind of sets the mood for everybody because we're all trying to fix it. So kind of turns that around.
So if you win and the others don't do very well, you have to bring yourself down to because they you know they had a bad night.
Yeah, I gotta kind of meet in the middle once I'm done in victory lane.
I'd be running through the house. Ha ha ha! ha.
Hey, could you imagine racing against them? Because if you get in it with one, I bet you get in it with all of them.
Oh yeah, I ain't thought about that.
Yeah, we can. Tommy does one last year. Somebody tried to run into my mom under caution, and Tommy did not take that very well. And he kind of took care of that. He got out and said, "Yeah, you're not messing with my mother." So I kind of took care of that one, and they never got into it again. So
I think we've asked this question before, but I'm gonna ask it again. Where does your dad go while all y'all are racing? I mean, you know, is he there at the racetrack with you? Where does he go?
He is on pit road for most of the races, but he's not at our pit stall. He can't sit still when the races are going on when we're racing. He's pacing up and down the pits and walking back and forth. He's not a very just kind of sit there and listen guy. He's got to be moving. He's got to be able to, you know, he's watching turns 3 and 4 one lap. He's watching turns 1 and 2 the next lap. He's got to be moving.
So who keeps up the cars? Does he work on keeping the cars up and everything for you?
Yeah, so we have a shop right at our house. So it's pretty much we all go to school or work. We get home and around 5 o'clock we're all out in the shop working together. Just we work on one car at a time for the most part, and when that car's done, we move it to the side and work on the next one.
So so all of y'all are racing. So how many cars do y'all have?
We have for the most part, all of us have 2 cars. So we either have a tour type modified, which is like for the wheel and modified tour, and like an SK type car, or like Tommy has a tour type car, and then he has an open car for when we go to like Stafford and stuff for the open races.
Wow. So what's the rest of your season look like? You gonna be running up there on a regular basis? Or are you gonna be doing any traveling around and doing any other races?
I'm gonna run. We'll see how the tour and stuff goes, but as the plan right now, we're gonna run the Race of Champions series around us, which is a modified series, and Sportsman modified series, which is like the SK cars. So I should be. I got a tour type modified now, so run a couple of them maybe this year and get my feet wet a little bit, and run some more next year. And we're gonna travel around a little bit more this year, try and get to some more open shows, and just kind of race around the tour schedule for the most part.
Now, when the tour comes to Langley, you gonna come with them down here when they come to Langley?
Yep, we'll be down there.
All right. Well, you make sure you catch up with me and Scott when you come down for that, because I want to meet all y'all at one time.
How many cars would y'all bring down?
We're gonna definitely bring Tommy down, and then Tyler and Timmy, they're gonna kind of split the races in our second tour car. So it's gonna be where you want to race, well I want to race here. Well, I don't care about there, so you can run here, and they're gonna kind of fight over which track they get to go to.
So which races is your mom gonna run? Is she gonna run any of the tour races?
It's kind of up in the air right now. She said she's not running anywhere that she doesn't like. So as long as she likes the track and she thinks she's going to do good, she'll go. But she said she's not going to push herself to go somewhere where she doesn't like.
So now how do y'all decide? Do y'all all go to one racetrack every weekend? Or does like one of you go race here and the other one go races there?
No, we all go together. So if
Okay.
there's a tour race, we all go to the tour. And then if the tour's off, we kind of all sit down together and okay, we can go to Evans Mills, we can go to the ROC, we can go to Open at Stafford. Where do we want to go here? And then it's everybody puts in their P's and Q's and there's a final decision.
How big a damn trailer you got to haul everything with?
We have a stacker that
Okay.
can hold 3 cars.
Okay.
Yep.
So how many cars did you have at New Smyrna?
We had 5 down there.
I thought it was more than just the 3. I mean,
Yep. So my brother's girlfriend's dad, he owned the super late model that Tommy drove. So he put 2 cars. He put his super late model, and then my 602 in his trailer.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, it's a total family effort when y'all
Yeah.
go racing.
It is.
But with this win, then you've got the kind of the biggest win of the family so far. Then
To start the year off, we do.
that lasts me all year. I'd be talking trash. I'm talking trash right now.
So what do you do with your trophies when we get trophies? You go move theirs out of the way and put yours up there, or what?
I keep all my trophies in my room. I don't trust them and with them. They're rough on equipment out there.
Oh, that's pretty smart. Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
would you rough your brother up? You said you didn't let him in on one of these races a while back. Would you rough him up for the win?
So funny. It's kind of funny because me and Tyler, we actually race each other harder than we race anybody else.
Right.
We don't really clank each other, but there's times that we do. But I mean, it's not like, you get behind somebody and they're faster and somebody let you by, but then they come out at the end of the race and you just like, all right, you let me by at the beginning, they get under you and you kind of just fall in the line. Well, we don't, if somebody's faster than us and it's, Tyler, my brothers, we race each other pretty hard.
Now, all right. Here's a question. I just sat here and thought about this. Now, y'all get out there and get to beating and banging on each other's brothers or whatever. And I raced against my brother, so I know how that is. But y'all get to beating and banging on it, and it kind of makes a divide a little bit between brothers and everybody. Okay, well, yeah, he did this. Does mom and dad step in and say, "Oh, y'all need to get your act together," and or else you're not going to race? The worst thing I could hear is if she comes in there and tells you you're grounded.
She puts her foot down sometimes, if she sees us out there and we're beating off each other, all of a sudden you hear on the radio, "You two knock it off." And then it's like, uh-oh, we better get in line here and follow each other.
That's what I was looking for.
So in other words, mom is in charge.
Mom is in charge.
Poor dad. I feel sorry for him.
He gets on the radio. He'll get on the radio and, Timmy gets worked up on the radio. He gets flustered very quickly. So Dad's the calm one. He's like, "Just calm down. It's going to be okay. Just relax."
So do all 3 of y'all have a little bit of a temper, when it comes to racing and everybody, maybe not with each other so much, but with others, have a little bit of a temper and it kind of drags everybody in it?
We all have our own type of temper. Like Timmy, he's very quick to get a temper. Tommy's very hard to get in his head. You know what I mean? Like he's very just focused and he doesn't get upset very often. Tyler, he just goes with the flow. He's kind of just like, I'm just here to have fun, race. But I get upset, but we all have our own point where we start to go, but once one of us goes, it's kind of all of us.
I can totally see that.
Well,
Yeah.
Trevor, we appreciate you coming on and talking with us. I hope we get to see you when you come down here to Langland. You need to
Most
find me
definitely.
and Scott so we can come and meet all y'all at one time.
All right, I'll let you guys know.
And
Yeah.
maybe
We
sometime,
got to do a group photo with these.
yeah, and maybe sometime we can have a show where we can get all y'all on the show together. We might
All
have
right.
different rooms or something, but we'll get all y'all on the show together, and maybe your mom can go somewhere else and talk. But anyway,
Yeah.
Trevor, we appreciate it, man. Congratulations on New Smyrna, man. You did a great job down there. I watched most of the races. You did a great job. So,
Obviously, the fastest brother this year. So far.
yeah, man. So you got a little while you can walk around and talk trash to the other ones, and I expect you to do that.
No,
Some guy named Tom Barron. You know Tom Barron?
yep.
He says you do rub it in a lot.
I wait until we get home.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have got outside the gate.
that might be the best bet. Wait till you get home before you rub it in.
Right about now, I'm thinking about going and getting the trophies and walking around the room. You know, I'm a braggart behind the closed doors.
We're like, hey, if you want me to test your car for you and help you out, see if you I'll do that for you.
There's a time when you got to do it, because they don't like it very much when they don't want it.
Well, Trevor, thank your sponsors if you got any, and we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I got to thank Power and Construction, CP Ward. I got to thank all of them for pitching in this whole speed weeks, for helping us get down there and helping us continue to race. FX Caprera, they do a ton for our entire racing team here. And obviously everyone that works on the cars, it's a lot to keep 6 people and around 12 cars going for the whole year. So it takes a lot of people, and especially my parents for letting us do this.
Yeah, thank your dad, really, because he's the one that has to put up with a whole lot of stuff, it looks like.
That's for sure.
All right, Trevor, we'll talk to you again real soon, and hopefully we'll see you down here at Langley.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right, thank you, man. We
Good luck,
appreciate
buddy.
it.
Bye.
Thank you. See ya.
It would be neat to see all of them.
All of them together at one time. That would be really,
I mean, it's got to be a lot of fun, the big family dynamic, and everybody working on the stuff together, racing together.
yeah, but you got to think about it now.
I mean, you're the only one here that has any
How
experience.
many yeah, I'm getting ready to, that's what I'm getting ready to say here.
Wait a minute. You made amends now.
Well, yeah, but we're still talking racing now. We're talking racing. But think about it a little bit, that it got to, that many people racing in one family.
5 boys and they're all racing. The one's racing.
And the mama's racing too.
Yeah, and the mama. I mean, that's 6.
So
Each of them got 2 cars.
hello, Aiden Zedrich. How you doing, man? We need to get you back on here real soon and talk to you again. See how you're doing. But that's racing against the family, that can create a lot of mixed feelings.
If you got a good leader like the mother.
Yeah, but then you got a fool that went out and tried to dump hers. That didn't go over well.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So,
No,
anyway,
it's got to be a lot of fun. I mean, it seems like it would be a great family dynamic to have.
yeah, I mean, it can be fun. When we started racing as a family, it was fun to start with. Yeah, it was.
Until the favoritism comes, they probably don't have no favoritism.
It was fun.
That's what we should have asked. Is there favoritism?
Yeah, that would have been a good question to ask.
Who's the favorite?
But yeah, it does have its moments where things can get really nasty when you really,
Well, especially you get wrecked the other one. It could intentional or not intentional.
That ain't
I mean, when
fun.
you're racing real hard side by side, you're going to run into each other. I mean,
Yeah. Sometimes you be running real hard and run in the back of them. Or you're running real hard.
Well, maybe they should have been faster.
And one time you be running real fast and run in the side of them. I've had both of those situations occur. So unbelievable that I was the one that did the hitting. So anyway. All right, well, that's our show for tonight, man. That was a kind of fun show to have 2 former Langley people here.
Yeah, with many wins and very successful.
And then have Gale, who's going to get back into the late model racing. That's going to be huge.
Right, has a big, Cale has a big name. I mean, you got to think, you got the Gale Force machine. I don't know if he created that, or if that was what his dad created. I think his dad's what created that. It's what pretty much every, I don't say every, but a lot of late model guys use today, which I know you probably don't know what that thing is, Jack, but
Oh, shut up. What you trying to put me out like that? Just don't act like I don't know nothing.
but it is a very neat machine. And now they make, people make some knockoffs of it now, but that was a pretty, big thing. That's why I knew Cale was had his finger on the pulse on setups and that kind of stuff. And he's going to be fast. There's no doubt in my mind that Cale and that team is going to be fast.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would probably be very disappointing if he wasn't fast. I mean, he's going to be one of you guys that's going to be having a shot at it, maybe an outside shot, because it's going to be a crowded field.
Oh, I think right now, I mean, we can name half the field that has a legit chance at winning some races and competing for the championship. I mean, both guys here from Langley, Queen and Connor Hall, and then you got. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. Of opportunities, and I do think this year might not be so far as the Cars Tour. Maybe we need to get Jack back on sometime and talk to him about the Cars Tour. I think it's kind of early in the stage with Junior and Harvick and you have Burton that's in there, and then Justin Marks. I think that's the best group of people that you could have to kind of head up that program. But I think this year is going to be a little bit early of like some new things, and really, I mean, it's going to blow up. But I'm looking forward to like what's going to happen next year.
Yep.
Especially because you'll have Kevin that's not going to be racing, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Kevin at some races next year, or his son.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, how is his son?
He's on the verge of age wise. But I like, if you watch that Stacking Pennies with the interview with Kevin, which is pretty interesting, that he is funny in his idea of like bringing his son along into racing. Yeah. That he does not want just to go to some team and you get the best of everything and you just sit on the pole and lead all the races with all the tricked up stuff. He said you don't learn anything.
Yeah.
And his son made a mistake one time. That he qualified like 5th, and he said, "Dad, qualifying doesn't mean anything." So he went to the race director and told him to pull his time and make him start from the rear. And when he wanted to roll his car up to 5th or 6th, he's like, "No, you got to go to the back." He's like, "What?" Of like 30 carts or whatever. And he's like, "You said qualified doesn't mean anything. Let's see what you got."
Oh God.
But learning to pass is equally as important as just being able to drive a car fast.
So it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then of course we had Trevor on, and I'm gonna tell you what, that's got to be the fun family in the world right there with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our show next week. Right now we have Chris Edwards Racing, and Chase Burrow are going to be with us next week.
They coming here? Or
they're coming here. Katie Hettinger, the first female to win a race at the World Series down in New Smyrna. Greg Van Alst, the winner of the ARCA race at Daytona, is going to be with us. And we're going to have Tristan Smith is going to be with us. He's only going to be with us for a few minutes. He can't be with us very long, but he was the engineer on the winning car at Daytona for the Daytona 500.
Maybe he'll tell us what kind of tricked up stuff he had.
I'm going to tell you something. My wife and I we watched the race, and of course I had the kids and all the kids and everybody were there. But after they left, we were sitting there talking about it, and it's really cool that we saw Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew's the engineer on Kyle Busch's car.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him, and then we saw Tristan, and then the engineer on the 47. These are guys that, I'll be straight up honest with you. When I saw them back in the day, I didn't think they were going to mount much.
You mean when they were in there with the strippers in the front of the car?
I ain't going to get all that. I ain't getting all that.
I'm sure they witnessed that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they participated or not.
Look. And we got to ask Tristan, because Tristan has gone out and he has become, or he did this a while back, he became where he could do weddings as a preacher in a wedding. So I want to give.
He's a ordained minister.
That's it. That's it. That's what I was after. And so we're gonna have to talk to him about that because that's the last person I'd expect.
We'll just have to say, hey, we're gonna renew our vows. We'll know if you're available.
So anyway, all right. Hope you'll like our show, share it, do whatever you need to do. We'd love to have your support, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah, just one more thing.
On,
I meant to share this earlier, and I just kind of wanted to put up the golf tournament for Dave to help with some of the bills and medical bills that Dave and them acquire every year, and it's going to take. So sponsor a hole, play, bring something, donate something. Every little bit counts. Greatly appreciate it for those guys. And so yeah, we're going to keep posting that until it's over. So thanks, guys. Promote our show. We greatly appreciate everybody. Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll talk to you later.